will be presenting. So we have Eric, we have Maeve, and we have Stephanie as well will be presenting this morning. Make it as interactive as possible. Ask questions. They are here with a gleam of knowledge to show us and to teach us all about drugs and gang-related activity here in Ireland. And if you have any questions concerning joining the Garda or anything like that, please do not be afraid to ask those questions. My colleague, Daya, over there, is going to be going around with the mics, so please do not be afraid. We also have Slido that is going to be operating as well. So if you want to ask an anonymous questions, please, we will be displaying the Slido as well. So the code will be displayed and the QR code will be displayed on the main screen so that you can ask your anonymous questions if you would like to. So just a little bit of housekeeping. The toilets are downstairs. If you need assistance getting to the toilet, please let my colleague Daya know, or Paul to my right or myself. Also, if you need, the fire exits are through those behind you, one on my right and one on my left. And we also have first aid and emergency as well in our midst. So we hope you enjoy the seminar and you are richly blessed. And please, let's give a round of applause to the Garda for making time today for us this morning. We have the presentation up, please. Right, Eric, the floor is yours.
Good morning. I'm not used to speaking into a mic, so I'm going to see where it's happy for me. I'll be part of the Drogheda Community Police, so would Stephanie, and maybe be a member of a Garda Síochána attached to Drogheda. I'll be in Drogheda about 14 years, and in the Guards about 17 years. So what we're going to do today was to come here by Paul and whoever else looks after the church to talk to the congregation in relation to drugs, but specifically drugs in Drogheda. We have schools program that we talk to teenagers with drugs, but this one here was kind of taken by the drugs team in Drogheda, and specifically parts of Drogheda will be seen in the slides. So we can go ahead there. So if anyone has a question, you can put up our hands, same as school, and I'll get you and you can ask a question. But ask anything. It doesn't have to be about drugs, it doesn't have to be about guards, it can be about anything. Ask whatever you want. There we go. Oh, there we go. So introduction. Drugs dispute between organised criminal gangs. This is specifically Drogheda, okay? Operation Stratas. Stratas is the operation. So we have an incident where we seize drugs or stop a person and search a person. It goes under Operation Stratas on their system, on the Pulse system. So Operation Stratas, an appointed of senior investigation officer, establishing of Divisional Drugs Unit, Drugs Intervention Misuse Overview. This presentation will provide information relating to drugs and organised crime groups, targets in the Drogheda and surrounding areas. So it's not just Drogheda, the surrounding areas. It's all the way up to probably Dundalk and all the way down to Balbriggan and further afield. In the Drogheda surrounding areas, it will include details of current seizures, distribution networks, and a snapshot of recent criminal activity and modus operandi. Modus operandi is how these groups work. Okay? It will also include substance misuse, what controlled drugs are, legislation, signs and symptoms of drugs use and abuse. So this presentation here is a few years old. So all the stuff that's seized on it, you know, we have a value of money or a value of drugs, it's gone up since then, okay? But in relation to the Drogheda feud was at its height probably 4 or 5 years ago. But thank God it's been quelled. Okay? Drogheda is a much safer place at this moment in time, okay? So as you can see there, with drugs and people holding drugs and drugs being lost and drugs being captured with the guards, it doesn't end there, okay? So if you're asked to hold drugs or to put drugs in your attic or stuff like that, and the guards get the drugs, it doesn't go away. You're then targeted to say that you now owe us this money. Okay? So there's a house in the Moneymore area of Drogheda which has been petrol bombed because people were holding drugs. The guards did a raid on a house and got the drugs. Okay? So the Drogheda feud is a series of connected crimes in Drogheda which started in 2018. It started with two groups who were working together. Okay, but with drugs comes money, comes jealousy, comes fighting, comes could be fighting over women, could be fighting over money, it could be fighting over possessions, but the good times never last. Okay, the feud erupted when organised criminal gangs been seeking control of the drug market within Drogheda and surrounding area. So there was one big group, they fell out because some of them wanted more. That's what happens. It becomes a feud. 4 people have been murdered as a result of the feud, one of them being a 17-year-old boy. Okay? It made international news because it was something like you'd hear about in Mexico or on the Mexican border. A child being abducted and murdered. But it actually happened in Drogheda, 17-year-old. So it wasn't very good. But this 17-year-old was a young man who was groomed. Groomed is as in used by these drugs gangs. They're probably saying, there's a nice pair of Nike 270 Air Runners. Or there's a nice Canada Goose jacket on the house. Hold this for us. He got sucked in. Then what happens? He's feeling great about himself. Could have girls hanging out of him. Feeling brilliant, continues with the gang. And once you're in, getting out. Once they have a hold of you, once they have a grip of you, whatever it is, giving you free stuff or love bombing is. You know what love bombing is? Aren't you great? Aren't you brilliant? Come on, join us. You could be at home. Things may not be great. And you want to be with the gang down the street or the street corner because they're showing you some love. Okay? So get sucked in. There have been a large number of serious incidents including discharging of firearms, assaults, arsons connected to this feud. So at one stage during the feud, it was non-stop for a long time. We were getting called, there's a car burnt out here, there's a house burnt there, or someone's been assaulted up here, or someone's being shot down here. And it was a stretch on the manpower we had in Drogheda. We did get a big influx of people into Drogheda after a campaign by the local superintendent, Andrew Waters, and the chief, Alan McGovern, and Christy Mangan as well, the chief at the time, who asked for more resources for Drogheda to try and get a hold on this feud, which we did do. Next. Establishment of the Divisional Drugs Unit in Drogheda. The Divisional Drugs Unit in Drogheda is a small cohort of people, usually young lads. From time to time there'll be girls in there as well. But they're a small cohort of 6. 1 sergeant and 1 inspector. And they're probably one of the best teams on Garda Síochána in Ireland because of their work ethic, the amount of drugs seized, the amount of people who were involved in serious crimes being put in prison. We don't want to see people going to prison, but if people are doing bad things, causing disruption in their communities, putting a hole in their community, we will send them to prison. Okay? Divisional Drugs Sergeant Paul Gale was appointed alongside 6 dedicated Garda members to target drugs distribution in the Drogheda area and surrounding areas. Sergeant Paul Gale is still the sergeant there, and he's very good at what he does. The Divisional Drugs Unit adopted a proactive approach to drugs policing in Drogheda district, which resulted in the following statistics to date. Now, this is 220, so we're in 2025, so the stats have gone through the roof. Go ahead. Total detected drugs incidents, 841. Section 15, which is sale and supply. Okay. It's anything over, it's sale and supply, but Section 15A is anything over 13,000. If you get, someone is caught with value of drugs over 13,000 euro, 10-year mandatory minimum sentence in Ireland. Not everybody gets 10 years because of mitigating factors, childhood, and this and addiction. But it's 10 years. Section 564, total drugs is 4.5 million. It's probably double that, triple that at this stage. Total cash seized, 418,000. It's into the millions at this stage. So the way they're targeting is kind of twofold. It's targeting the drugs, but it's also targeting the cash. So someone's on social welfare, they're driving around in a 60,000 euro BMW. You're asking yourself, already there. Seizures of pipe bombs and a variety of ammunition, 2 seizures of firearms, large number of concealed cash related to seizures, 1 detected organised crime gang investigation. That's into the probably 3 and 4 gangland legislation. It's not very well used, but it's very well used in the Drogheda area. The Drogheda drug squad is probably the go-to people in Garda Síochána in relation to any unit in Drogheda looking for information in how to go about implementing gangland legislation, because they've been through the feud. Okay? Be the similar to the feud in Limerick, where the guards down there would be known as experts in their field. 506 persons before the courts on drug-related offences, 344 persons arrested and before the courts in relation to sale and supply of controlled drugs. Now, there are consequences of dealing drugs, holding money, involved in the drugs business. Okay, there's a number of houses there. That's not criminals taking those doors off the hinges. That's members of Garda Síochána. Okay, calling up to a house. We won't call at a time that suits you. Guard, can you call up at 1 o'clock this evening? Search the house. Doesn't work like that. We'll call at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. They're nice and cosy in the bed. They'll take the door off the hinges if they believe there are drugs being held or sold or anything like that in the house. It's not nice. Could be kids in the house. It's not a good thing to see for a child in bed. 10, 12 guards coming through the door. But it's a necessity. Okay, sometimes these kids are being used. Guards won't hit the house. There's young kids in here. But unfortunately, we have to do what we have to do. Go ahead. The strategy of Divisional Drugs Unit for the investigation of distribution of drugs and organised criminals in Drogheda. The strategy has 3 stages. Raising awareness. This is raising awareness here, okay, one of the strategies. Raising awareness of the investigation into drugs, distribution and organised crimes by the Divisional Drug Unit based at Drogheda. Action which needs to be taken further to these aims. So if information comes in, what action do we take? And to put the action in motion. Analysis of information which is necessary to inform the work of the Divisional Unit based at Drogheda in combating drugs, distribution and organised crime. So you'll get information, guards seeing things, and they'll put information on the system. You'll get members of the public who are good-natured, bringing the guards saying, listen, something might be happening in this house. There's cars coming and going every night of the week. There's known drug users knocking into this house. Can there anything be done? I also wish to remain anonymous. Some people are reluctant to ring the guards because the nature of a guard is to, what's your name? Where do you live? What's your phone number? So this person wants to remain anonymous for obvious reasons. So you can do that. You can ring up the guards and say, listen, guard, I want to remain anonymous. I don't want anyone calling to my house. And we can work it out from there. If anyone needs to ring the guards, but doesn't want the guards to not go into them. Awareness, briefing of Garda personnel. So it's not just members of the public. We also get briefed in relation to what's going on. Okay. The common of personnel to divisional drug units. Briefing by senior officers through the JPC forum and the media. So that's a thing that senior Gardaí have to go through. The JPC, Joint Police Commission, I believe it's called, where they get asked questions. What are you doing? Senior officers, what are you doing in our community? We know that this is going on here. What are you doing about it? And they're able to say, well, we're doing this, doing that. Conviction and prosecution in terms of drugs and money laundering offences. Simultaneous targeting of all drugs and organised criminal gangs within the district. So there's a good one there, right? So back a second. So simultaneously targeting all drugs and organised criminal gangs within the district. That means the guards aren't just going after one gang, because they could be getting information from another gang, so the guards will take out that gang. Guards, this is what's happening with them. Like going like that. Look over here. And there's something happening over here. So they'll target all the gangs, no matter where information's coming from. Go ahead. In terms of overall Garda activities, has focused on the following areas. Targeting operations against all organised criminal gangs in the division. Visible enforcement of the law and re-entry of suspended sentences where organised criminals, members and other criminals transgressing during the period of suspension. So, we'll get these people going up to court, pleading with the judge. Please let me out on bail. Please let me out. The judge will make a decision. The judge lets person out on bail, but the guards then put conditions on the person saying, put them on a curfew, not to leave the house after 9 o'clock, which is hard for someone that's active in the drugs criminality to stay in their house after 9 o'clock. Most of their business is done after dark. So that's a stipulation we put on, but then we check that they're there. They're saying to the judge, I will be there. So the judge is saying, well, the guards are going to check, are you there? So we'll knock up 9:30. Where is he? Mammy says, he's not here, Garda Scurry. Said, okay, he's in breach of bail. So we get enough breaches of bail. We're able to go back up to the judge. Judge, he made a promise, or he or she made a promise to you. They negated on that promise. We're asking you to put them in custody. So it's very, very serious. Increased focus on arrest, asset identification, forfeit and seizure. See, the big thing, the be-all and end-all in drugs is money. Okay? Having the flash car, having the flash gear, having the flash woman if you're a man, having the flash woman sitting beside you. All this stuff, that's the end game. That's what the attraction is. If there was no attraction in it, people wouldn't get into the drugs business. Okay, there has to be something there. It can be easily sucked in. These people going around thinking they're grand, nothing's going to happen to them. They're going to continue in the drugs business. It all comes to an end sooner rather than later. You never see an old drug dealer. Comes to an end. It either go to prison, they'll either end up dead, or they'll either do something to themselves because the pressure of what they got themselves into becomes too much. Development of an intellectual district and divisional level which has attracted the attention and support of national units. So there we go. Development of an intelligence at district and divisional. So they built up that much intelligence and that much know-how. National units now calling on the drug squad in Garda to say, you've done that, you did a good job, show us how to do it. Sharing of intelligence with national units. Prosecutions initiated against organised criminal gang personnel. Next. So there you can see a seizure of cannabis herb. Cannabis herb is big, especially among teenagers, especially among teenage boys. Cannabis is big. But what the situation is with cannabis is that back where I come from, I'm originally from Ballymun in Dublin, had cannabis resin. Now the blocks, not saying any, yeah, we know what it is. Right, just I take you know what it is. Blocks of hash, cannabis resin. Well, the THC in cannabis resin, back in the day, 40 years ago, in Ballymun, was 5%. When you smoke cannabis resin with 5%, you get a little lift. You get the thing, what we used to call the gigglies. Be laughing and joking. The cannabis, some of you know, some of you probably don't know, cannabis herb is anywhere from 5 to probably 35% THC. So it's very, very strong. It can cause psychosis. Psychosis is that you go through a psychotic episode. You have enough of them. There could be one big one. You may never come back. Okay? You could be suffering mental illness for the rest of your life because the cannabis is so strong. So arrest and seizure operations targeting the sale and supply of controlled drugs. Go ahead. So there's the big thing. There's cash. Cash is king. Drugs world. If there wasn't cash to be had, or we didn't need cash, they wouldn't get into it. So cash is king. So there you can see a bundle there of 80,000, another bundle of 49,000, I think it is. But that's cash. So guards love seizing cash, and criminals hate when guards seize cash. Go ahead. Operations targeting the sale and supply of controlled drugs. 4.5 million total value of drugs. So this is 4 years ago. So it's gone up since 5 years ago, including cocaine, cannabis, heroin, ketamine. Anyone know what ketamine is?
Tranquilizer.
Very good. But it's also used as a party drug. Okay, it's also used as festivals, but very, very strong. People who take too much ketamine go into a thing called a K-hole, where the brain is thinking, but the body doesn't move. I see some people at festivals where they're comatose in the corner. Could be in a K-hole, okay? So Yazepam. Yazepam are drugs. It was kind of an epidemic in Ballymun years ago as well. And I know I keep going back to Ballymun, but it's kind of my reference point. Where you'd have women with kids. Okay, because back then, weren't using contraception. They're all Roman Catholics, okay? So they were having 10, 15 kids. You could picture a lady, the husband is mostly absentee because he's out working all day or in the pub. And her nerves are gone. Okay? She's wondering how can she cope with life. Off down to the doctor, I'm feeling depressed. The doctor gives her the Yazepam, she feels fantastic. Okay, and then our mates are saying, you 15 kids, and you're going around with a big smile on your face with your hair done and your makeup on. What's your secret? I went down to the doctor, he gave me these things called Valium, which is the name they use on them. Valium, diazepam. So, but what happens with them? You're taking them. You need more. Taking them, you need more, and all of a sudden it's like cocaine. They call cocaine in certain working class areas of Dublin. They call it more. That's the name for it. You need more. Because you need more. And the drug dealers will keep on taking your money. But when you start owing them money, that's when the trouble starts. When they can't get it out of you, where are they going? They're knocking up to your man and dad. Tell such and such, he owes me money. And just say you owed 100 quid for whatever, cocaine or cannabis resin. Not like it was years ago. You owe 100 quid and your man says, I need that Thursday. Have my €100 Thursday. You don't have it Thursday, it's turning into €500. You weren't able to give the €100 in the first place. How are you going to give the €500? Then you haven't got the €500 and they're knocking up to your man there who haven't got a clue what you're doing. Saying, your uncle owes me €500. He hasn't got it in the next 2 days. €1,000. It's called taxing you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Guards can't sit in your house 24 hours a day. We'd love to be able to sit on people's houses 24 hours a day, but we can't. So MDMA, do you know what MDMA is? Like ecstasy, but have liquid MDMA. In relation to ladies, especially going out in pubs, I'm not trying to frighten anybody, I'm just going to put you can have liquid MDMA. Okay? So, in other words, if you're going to the toilet or anything like that, make sure your mate, or your friend, sister, keep an eye on me drink. Because the little vials of liquid, you just pour it into your drink, you don't even see it, and all of a sudden you don't hear. Okay? So just be careful with stuff like that. If you're in a nightclub or a pub or anywhere like that, get someone to keep an eye on your drink while you run the toilet. Okay. Next. So, common dangerous cutting agents. So, you get cocaine coming out of Colombia, probably 95%. Okay. But Colombia is a long way. Drugs stop in Amsterdam. Drugs stop in the UK. Drugs might stop up the north. So every time the drugs stop, the person holding them wants their little cut over. They'll take this kilo of coke, they'll cut it down. So the time it comes to Ireland, probably, if you're lucky, 10% cocaine. Because it's been cut all the way. Mixing agents like mixing agents to cut the coke with similar. Do you ever go to the dentist? Get an injection? Lidocaine. That's what they're injecting. It numbs you. So you'll see in the films or on YouTube, and especially from years ago, they'll put their finger in the cocaine, rub it in their gums. It's to see if it has a numbing effect. So to mask that numbing effect, they put in the likes of benzocaine, lidocaine. There's a big one there, fentanyl. So I'll go back to benzocaine. Benzocaine, a popular anesthetic used by dentists. Use that looks like coke. Rub it on, coke. Limosville, I don't know what that is. Normally prescribed to kill parasitic worms. Okay, so they're using stuff that kills parasitic worms. Coke. Okay, fentanyl. You all heard of fentanyl? You all watch the news and CNBC. Fentanyl, powerful opiate, stronger than heroin, 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Morphine is one of the strongest drugs they use in hospitals when they're amputating people's limbs. They use morphine. So fentanyl is 50 to 100 times stronger. You've had a load of celebrities die of fentanyl. Prince. Y'all know Prince, Purple Rain? Died of fentanyl. A young man. Michael Jackson died of fentanyl as well. He was young enough. Okay? Loads of people dying of fentanyl. You've even had police officers dying of fentanyl when they stop a car in the States, mostly. They touch this stuff. It's that powerful. You can have a bag about that size that has enough potency in it to kill thousands and thousands of people. And they're mixing this in. Okay? Lidocaine, a local anesthetic which numbing effects, that's what I said, the numbing effects. Nanotol, it has anti-caking properties, keep your drugs in a powder form. So everyone wants their drugs nice and powdery, nice and fluffy, ready to go. Don't want it all kind of bricked up and everything else. So they add in nanotol to keep it nice and fluffy and nice and clean. Looks nice. What's that one there? Novocaine. Yeah, Novocaine. Like lidocaine, has a numbing effect that mimics cocaine. So it's cut down. So the cocaine they're getting in Drogheda, or they think it's cocaine, probably 5 to 10% or 15%. Next. The detection rate of possession of drugs and sale and supply is up 30% since 2019. The detection rate of cultivation and manufacturing of controlled drugs is up 550%. Now that's kind of dropped again, but it's usually gangs who are working in relation to usually just see people from people that are illegal in the country being used to work in these, to keep these plants healthy and everything else. The detection rate of simple possession of controlled drugs is up 7%. The detection rate of importation of controlled drugs is up 200%. It's probably up more than that. There's been few cases in Drogheda where vulnerable people, especially women who got into debt with these drugs gangs, have been used to import drugs from countries, specifically Thailand, into Drogheda, and these people are now locked up. They're trying to bring in massive amount of drugs because of money owed to drugs gangs in Drogheda, and now they're behind the bars and the kids are in care. 4.3 million total value of drugs seized since 2020, 150 plus separate drug dealers arrested. It's more than that now. There has been a 27% decrease in drug-related intimidation incidents by means of criminal damage, arson. So that's down, okay? Drug intimidation, everything is down because of the work the drug squad in Drogheda and members of Garda do in the Drogheda area. Next. I think we're nearly finished, boys and girls. What is substance misuse? The use of any drugs, legal or illegal. As we were saying, legal or illegal. Go back to the women in Ballymun, going down to the doctor, getting the Valium, the diazepam, cope with the 10, 15 kids. That's your legal end, but it still can be devastating to the family and the community. Okay? Relationship with family, friends or society. So you'll find a person who was once extrovert, outgoing, played football, went to church, who no longer does that. Could be an addiction there, okay? Could be a few things happening, but could be addiction. Effects on mental and physical health. Once a person played football, okay, or once they were upbeat, now they're introvert. Don't want to see anybody or whatever. Functioning as students both inside and outside the home. So a person who was good at school, or went to school all the time, is no longer turning up at school. Or their exams, grades have gone right down. Next. Just because a drug is legal and socially acceptable does not mean that it causes less harm or damage than an illegal drug. As the use of a particular drug becomes more acceptable, like cannabis herb, it is used more often and in greater amounts. This leads to greater consequences to the health and well-being. So, scenario there, group of lads, one of them is smoking weed. His mate, nah, you're all right. That's try it. Mate tries it to be part of the gang. And all of a sudden, the 7 or 8 lads are all smoking cannabis herb. They probably don't even know when they started. They're all smoking cannabis herb. It can be very addictive. Go ahead. Supply and demand. No demand for a particular product, then there is no point producing or supplying such product. No money to be made. Drug dealers go away, but there are vast amounts of money. If demand for recreational drugs were reduced, then the number of suppliers of drugs would also reduce, as would the amount of drugs in circulation. Reduction of demand would mean a corresponding reduction in supply. That's an argument they have where people are saying legalise cannabis. If you legalise cannabis, the drug dealers will go away. But it kind of has a double-edged sword. If you legalise it, people have greater access to it. A lot of people out there won't go near drug dealers, but if it's in your chemist, get a prescription, you're more likely to get down. Go ahead. Signs and symptoms of drug abuse. Go ahead. Using drugs to avoid, relieve withdrawal symptoms. Go ahead. Life revolves around the drugs. So where it was just recreational at the weekends, smoking a bit of cannabis herb at the weekend or doing a bit of coke, it's now every day. Drugs tolerance. As you go on, your drugs tolerance increases like the women out in Ballymun on the Valium. They need more of it and more of it and more of it. Problems in your relationship. Relationships won't last long. Okay, whether it's with your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, they won't last. Loss of control over drugs. I had a friend, okay, who's now a life coach. We won't mind me mentioning his name, Shani Kinsley. Okay, Shani Kinsley is now a life coach. Shani Kinsley was telling me a story of him being in the drugs den in Ballymun smoking crack. Crying. Because he didn't want to take the crack. Didn't want to smoke the crack. because he knows in 20 minutes he has to look for another bag, look for another rocket crack. Okay? But the overwhelming desire of the body through the addiction is forcing him to take the crack. So he's crying, knowing it's wrong, can't do anything about it. State he was in. Experienced legal troubles. If you ever go down to Drogheda District Court, most of the people down there are either drug users, alcoholics, whatever. That's the consequence. It's the same faces over and over again. Abandonment of activities you used to enjoy. You're no longer playing football or going with your mates or whatever. Go ahead. Continue to use drugs despite knowing it's hurting you. So there's Shawnee there. Crack pipe. Crying. Own man. And knowing it's wrong, but can't do anything about it. Neglecting responsibilities. Not washing yourself. You're not cleaning the house. We go into houses and they're absolutely in bits because there's a drug issue. The main thing for the person is to get whatever it is. Drugs, not thinking about anything else, not thinking about washing, not even washing the kids. Their main priority in there is to get the drugs, get the drink, or whatever the addiction is, sex addiction, or whatever it is. So it can be very detrimental. Using drugs under dangerous conditions or taking risks while high. That's a thing there. We kind of brush over that when we're talking to younger teenagers. But these are all kind of... But there's a thing called chemsex, okay? Having sex while high. Be very, very dangerous because you can find yourself doing things or getting involved in things that you wouldn't normally do. That's what I'm saying to the ladies and even the lads out in pubs or anything like that. Tell your mate, keep an eye on me drink and going to the toilet, going to the jacks or whatever you call it. Okay, because it can be very, very dangerous. Or even taking drugs that you know you're taking. Getting involved in something with a female or a male or whatever. Very, very careful. Go ahead. Controlled drugs. We're nearly there. Cocaine. Go ahead. MDMA, ecstasy, party drug. Cannabis herb. You know what that is. Ketamine. As I said, see the little vials there? So ketamine can come in little vials like that. Easily poured into a drink. It's tasteless. It's odorless. You don't know it's there. All of a sudden, you don't know where you're at. You're waking up a day or two later. You don't know what's at to happen. Very, very careful. Heroin. Diazepams. There's Valium there. There's D5s. Choice for back in the day for women who were pressed. A controlled drug is an illegal drug where the substance production or preparation is specified in the Schedule of Misuse of Drugs Act 19. Availability of controlled drugs is for medical and scientific purposes only. They're illegal. You shouldn't. Go ahead. For further information, all the places you can ring. Confidential line, Crime Stoppers, HSE, Spun Out, Jigsaw, Drugs.ie. Anyone needs any more. It now. Go ahead. Any questions? I hope you all understood the Dublin accent.
Yeah, no, I understood. Yeah, so we have Slido. Oh, okay, you have a question.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is great information. It's our pleasure. I want to ask concerning the cannabis. Cannabis, you said is among the controlled drugs. But we are being told now, even the youth, the young ones, smoking cannabis publicly. How can we control that now? Because it's a controlled drug, but it's easily accessible, and people are smoking it publicly. So
it's kind of, yeah, it is. It's still in Ireland, controlled drug. As guards, we can't be everywhere all the time. We'll walk down West Street. We'll smell cannabis coming off lads and girls. We can't stop and search them. We'd rather not get a young person in trouble. We'd rather give information like this. But it is illegal. If you're caught, even in Ireland, if you copper enough for a joint, it could be €5 and end up before the courts. So it's still illegal. We know people smoking and everything. Can't search. We haven't got the manpower to search everyone that walks by us. We get a smell off. There has to be other mitigating factors. Are they acting suspicious? Do we know them as known drug users or sellers? But the thing is, don't go down that road in the first place. Stay away from drugs. Does that answer your question? We'll, as guards, we do our best. Can't be everywhere all the time. Education like this can be more impactful than getting a young person, up before the court, then ruining their life. Because if you get a drugs conviction in Ireland, or it's on your CV, or on your convictions when you're going looking for a job, you're probably not getting the job. They'll say to you, yeah, we'll be in touch. Phone call never comes. Thinking, well, why? It's probably because you have some small conviction, 16, 17, thinking you are great, smoking cannabis here with the lads. Any other questions? Don't make it hard now.
Thank you so much, Eric, and the whole team. The question I want to ask is, you did mention briefly about grooming young people. We had a kind of quest around it a couple of weeks ago in the church here. Could you talk more on that and how young people should be careful in schools, within the estate, within the community, so that the awareness is there? So that could you kind of expand?
Well, I'll give you this scenario. We were asked to do, we used to be part of an operation called DCATS, called a crime action team, whatever it was. And we were given a job to do in a place called Rathmullen in Drogheda, where there was lads hanging around the shop, all wearing the 270 Nike Air, Canada Goose jackets. Nothing against Canada Goose jackets, by the way. But they're all wearing the same uniform. All the North Face jackets, all black, all this. They were all white young lads, okay? And so we were asked to do a job because we were getting approached by members of the public. They're at the shop every day. People won't go in the shop. But what happened at the time, I was there talking to about 8 of them. We just happened to have the superintendent with us. And an elderly lady stopped on the path. She wouldn't move. She froze. I thought there was something going down. Lads were asking me, why are you annoying us, Scurry? Why are you stopping us? Why are you searching us? That lady there, she won't go in the shop. But getting back to grooming, so you'll have girls there with the lads as well. Okay, and you have 2 male officers turning up. And we can smell, as you said earlier on, you can smell cannabis in the air. Okay? But the lads know, the little group or the gang, they're not going to search 15-year-old girls. Okay? The lads know that as well. We know that. I know if it was serious enough, we could on call one of the female guards to come up, search this young person. The likelihood is it's not going to happen. That young girl, given the bag of drugs, you see the guards coming down the road, she's given the bag of drugs, tucks it in her bra or tucks it somewhere else. Okay? Guards head off. Lads are all laughing and giggling. High-fiving this girl. Love bombing her. You're great. You're fantastic. Come back down tomorrow. Things might not be great at home. Young person, young females, young males going through hormone changes. They're all over the place. The brain is, I hate me ma, I hate me dad, I hate me life, I hate me house. But the lads and girls down the shop are love bombing them. They're being love bombed, but they're also being groomed. Okay? Making them feel great. You hold on to that. The guards didn't get the drugs. We have the drugs back. He wants to go down the next day, the next day, the next day. But when she eventually does get caught with drugs on her, she's the one before the court. All these so-called mates, none of them are up in court with her. They're all like, you're a gobshite. You got caught. Look at us, we're still at the shop. That's grooming. That's love bombing. It can easily happen. Someone trying to be our friend who shouldn't be our friend. No way, hold this for me. It's all right. The lads are doing it years. That's how it happens, Paul. It's as simple as that. It happens where they're given love, they're given appreciation, they're feeling good about themselves for that fleeting moment. That in itself becomes addictive. I want to have that feeling again. I want to be loved by a group. Like, do you ever hear the Tupac song, Dear Mama? Even though I sold drugs, they showed a young brother love. What he's saying there. Even though I sold drugs, the lads were giving me love. Street corner. My dad wasn't there. It's all about they're being groomed. Slowly they get sucked in. Go ahead. Is that it?
I actually have a couple of questions on the Slido. So, for example, like we've seen a rise in vaping, right? So has vaping now become the new gateway drug for a lot of the teenagers?
One of them. Vaping. Well, I can talk all day on vaping. Right, so vaping, it is a gateway. Okay? Vapes. They're all intelligent. They know the score. But we give them the talk to young teenagers and like, don't vape, we don't vape. So get them all excited. No vapes. About 10 of them. Now, know who vapes now. But it can be, right, so the Lost Marys. Lost Marys. Yeah, loads of nice, lovely flavours, bubble gum. Hello, madam. Bubble gum, strawberry, watermelon's a favourite one, right? So they're a tenner to go. You have your blue bars. You can get them two for €12. Hey, I know because I used to smoke them. Hey, gave them up, but found it very, very difficult. So what they're doing in Ireland and everywhere else, they're putting 20% nicotine in the blue bars. So if you're young brain and young bones and everything, it can become highly, highly addictive very, very quickly. Okay? The strongest cigarette out there is John Player Blue, Benson and Hedges, Major. They're 12% nicotine. Okay? And you're dealing with a Lost Mary, okay, which is 20% nicotine. Now, if you're buying your own liquids, you can bring it down to zero. But most of the teenagers out there, we also ask the teenagers, do you use work? Teenagers say, what do you mean we work? We're only 15. Where are you getting €10 a day or €20 a day for 2 Lost Marys? I know where you're getting it. You're getting it from Mammy's purse or Daddy's trousers. So, and it is a gateway. Then the addiction of that turns into the addiction of cigarette or lighting up a joint. In one addiction.
So I have a further question here that says, in regards to vaping. So now we don't the gateway. We know that the UK is banning vaping. Is Ireland going to do the same? Or do you think Ireland is not going to follow that route?
See, Ireland always follows England. We get all our laws from England. Since when we were a colony of England. That all changed in 1992. But if they're banning them, you can be sure that we'll follow suit. What has been banned in recent times is HCC. Do you know what HCC is? Cannabinoid that they put in liquid that you can vape. It's crazy in itself because there's no way of regulating how strong the HCC is. And they'll put the strongest in they can to get teenagers addicted. I'm not going to say, oh, you're a teenager, we put a small amount or a small percentage of HCC in the vape. They're giving you the full whack because they want you coming back tomorrow to buy more.
Does. I have a question here that says, how does social media and technology play a role in recruitment of young adults into gangs and into drugs?
Well, social media is huge. Okay? The way we were asked to probably know them, and I'm not pointing anyone out or whatever, right? You probably know the A92 lads. Right? I get on great with them, by the way. I think they're all fantastic. But we were asked to find out who they were because they're singing about drill music. You know what drill is? Drill means kill. Okay? That's what it means. Look it up. It originates in Chicago. So that's what drill music is. So they're talking about Rambo knives. Shank this, shank that. I'm going to do this to you. You come over the daughter, whatever. So we had to find out who these lads were. Okay? And most of them are local. 92 boys. Pleasure of getting to talk to them, still know them, still get on with them. That was all done through social media. That's how they got their platform. That's how we got to know about Debo. Professor, what's you call him? Yeah. What? Officer, yeah. Can't think of his first name. I call him Professor. Officer, Debo, all the lads. Got to know them, still get on with them. But their thing was, but we were a bit afraid because it was drill music and because it was new. Find out who they were and say, lads, listen, you need to be careful. It's actually me that said it to the boys, on them to Deo Safosaki. Said, you need to put a warning in your videos before you put them out saying, this is for entertainment. Because if anything happens to anybody, you're calling out someone from Balbriggan to come over here or whatever, and that young man, and it's on your video, you're liable. So social media, especially among young people, at my age, I wouldn't be great. It took me 10 minutes to sort out the thing. But with kids and your age, most of your age, phones, everything is social media. Everything is done within seconds, milliseconds. Whereas when we were growing up and we had to call for a friend, we had to physically leave the house, call up, knock in. He's not here. When is he back? I think he's back at 6. Call back at 6. With use, it's instant. Huge. Is that it?
Thank you. Thanks for mentioning A92 music.
Yeah, we get on great with the lads. You're talking to them, asking them to know Scuddy.
I have a question here, or if anyone has a question in the house, please do not be afraid to raise your hands. So you mentioned that the drug landscape has changed. Like we're seeing more and more, drugs being used in young people, but the violence has kind of reduced. Do you believe that that might change anytime soon, or?
I don't believe it'll change anytime soon. I believe the guards in Garda have a handle on things, but with people being murdered, killed, and houses being petrol bombed, etc., people don't forget. It's always simmering. Okay? It's not looking like anything's going to happen. Garda is a fantastic place to live, to be in, I believe. I'm here 13 years. And before that, I lived down in Mornington for years. So I know Drogheda well. The guards have got a handle on it. It is a better place to live. Can't see it getting any worse. But we as a people, as in Garda Síochána, need to keep a handle on it. And we need to have the respect of the public, like yourselves. If you don't have your respect, you don't hear anything about anything. Not ringing the guards. They don't like our community. They don't treat our community well. Why would I ring the guards? That's why we're kind of doing things like this. Say that we're human, you're human. We're all on the same team.
Oh, yeah, you have a question.
Hey.
I actually want to hear from the girls. So
Go ahead.
maybe all of. So my question is simple. Like we all work to get money, but there's always a reason why we get a job. Why Stephanie, Maeve, is it? Like why did you guys go into like the guys? Is it for the government pension? Like obviously there's always a motive for everything, Like my wife is a good example. The reason why she got into a job is because she cares. She's a midwife, so she loves caring. So that's the reason behind her. So you guys are in guards. Guard is a tough job. They get so many and stuff, So why the decision, like for the guys to go into guards, It's like, okay, thanks.
That's a great question.
What do you think, May? Probably be about the same. Job that I was well as that I studied law for a year. I actually applied for the guards while doing that and kind of sparked an interest, I suppose.
Thank you very much for answering that question. I think you have a question. I'll just come to you. You can't talk. Okay, she sent it to me. I'll just go to you quickly whilst I access the question.
Thank you so much, Eric, Stephanie, and Mev.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah, my question is this. Ireland is just about 6 million in terms of population. And if you know the quantum of drugs seizures this year, I was just wondering where those drugs end up in. Because if you look at the statistics, in Europe, in terms of drug use, Ireland comes second. In terms of drug use, all this cocaine, fentanyl, and all those what have you. How can we come to the bottom of the ladder, or even not be on that statistics at all? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, I understand you. I know where you're coming from. Now, not to be on statistics at all is probably impossible because you're going to always have people using drugs. Ireland has an insatiable appetite for cocaine. That's just the way it is. Now, how do you stop it? You stop it by doing things like this today, by talking about it. It's like what we say to teenagers. If you have anything on your mind or if anything's going on in your life, you need to talk about it with someone you trust, obviously, because if you don't talk about things, nobody knows what's going on in your life. And it's just rolling around in your head. So the thing about drugs and Ireland and being second on the list in Europe, yeah, it's really down to education. And it's down to pointing out to people in terms of what I said earlier on. You're not throwing cocaine up your nose. You're probably throwing 5% of what you think is cocaine. And the rest is all mad stuff you're throwing up your nose. So it could be a social thing. The lads and the girls are all doing a line of coke, so I might as well join them. So it could be something that it's Pastor, it's more education. Letting people know that it's a wrong road you're going down, or don't even get into it in the first place, which will bring these statistics down. That's all I know, education.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you so much, Eric. Further to that question, what you are doing, educating people about the consequences of drugs and all those what have you, and also, which is very good, but on the other hand, there is a place built up in, I think maybe somewhere in Dublin, where people can go in, they call it drug center, where people can go in and administer drug to themselves, on themselves, and we want to cut down the drugs, and we are also making such facilities available for people to use drugs. Is that not paradox?
It is a paradox, but what do you do? So these people, so then you have the scenario where these people haven't got a place to inject heroin in a safe environment with clean needles, who then go on the street and share needles and inject amongst each other and get AIDS or hepatitis. And then the consequence of that is that the society is looking after them for the rest of their lives in hospital. So society is then saying, well, to negate them getting AIDS or hepatitis, we'll give them a clinic. But these are bona fide addicts. They're not just people turning up, I want to use heroin. Where's that place to go shoot up heroin? It's bona fide addicts who have a letter from the doctor saying this person is addicted to heroin. Can they avail of the facilities to inject? I know it's a paradox, but that's what that is. It's to negate these people spending the rest of their lives in hospital and the burden that puts on the community as well. If they want to inject, there's nothing anybody can do about it. If they want to get heroin, there's little or nothing anybody can do about it. So supply them with somewhere that they can go and do whatever they need to do, rather than being on street corners, sharing needles, getting AIDS or hepatitis, and then the consequences of that. That answer that, Pastor?
Sorry, sir. There's one question here that says, how does the law protect parents from young people who use drugs but never admit they do? So the person uses drugs probably in their parents' home, but they want to know how the law protects the parents who is not aware of their drug use.
Well, you can't protect the person that's not aware. That answers that one. If the parent's not aware of the child doing drugs, then nobody knows. Now, if it's a case where the parent, like we've often had scenarios where the parent will catch their teenager or whatever, or suspect their teenagers on drugs, and we call, as a community-based organisation, we can call up and have a talk with the teenager and the parents present. But how can you protect something if something's not brought to light? So it needs to be brought to light first. It needs to be saying, this is what's happening, my child is doing drugs, or suspect them of doing drugs because the behaviour is all over the place. Then we can cross that bridge. But if the child is doing drugs and no one knows about it, then no one knows about it. So, but it has to come to light first. It has to be whatever scenario happens where it has to come to light. So that's what I'm saying. If anyone's having a problem or anything with drink or drugs or anything, you need to talk, because if you don't talk, people don't know what's going on in your life. Does that answer that, does it?
Yeah, well, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just want to make a quick contribution to the response about the clean environment for drug that's been created in Dublin. Just an addition to what Eric has said, the truth of the matter is this. Usually, when you have such clinics, it is supervised by professionals. So they don't just go in there, and like Eric said, people will take it no matter what you do. However, in addition to that point is, if the group go out there unsupervised in an unclean environment, they throw the needles out there in a number of communities. And the communities were hurt a number of times. Kids were accidentally injected. There's been numerous cases. So that's why when you look at even that social implication, the financial implication on the community, you see there's so much to be considered. That's why that's there. Thank you.
Thanks very much, sir. And we're going to be rounding up soon. Just in terms of like, interest in joining the guards, how does one apply? And like, how does one apply? So the questions.
Is one working? Yeah. So you'll more than likely see it all over like the social media pages and stuff like that when they are actually recruiting, but it's done through public jobs. The first few stages kind of all online report writing exercise as well, because it's one thing you don't really realize until you join the job is the amount of paperwork you have to do. So so that's guards, and then fitness test. So that's probably this stage where most people fall down. Quite a long process. I applied in, I think it was March 2022. I actually got into Templemore. I'm a year in Drogheda now.
Well done. Yep, you have a question.
Because one of the things was to promote diversity. I'm the diversity ambassador for Zurich. And for Garda, there's a vacancy for more diversity. And the age, is the age still the same? Cap, there's a maximum age you can enter guards, 35. Is that correct?
So they've actually upped that to
Yeah, I just want to ask, is that true? Like, or just
yeah,
that?
so they've upped it to 50 now, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, because
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm just wondering. So I don't know why we're talking about young adults being motivated or being groomed. So, and sometimes I just wonder that, is it because people think there's no punishment for the young adults, that they are using them? And I'm just wondering that if we have that, we have been in Ireland for over 25 years now, and I don't think I've heard of any changes to law regarding adult children. But I've had people committing crime under the, pretense that they are young children and they will go scot-free. So I'm just thinking that, is there anything that they are looking forward to do in the near future, especially in terms of law, to make sure that young adults, whether underage or not, you are held accountable for whatever you have done, and that will discourage other people from doing it?
There is legislation there in relation to grooming kids into drug organisations. It is there. It's not used that much because it's kind of hard to prove, but it is there, and it's only in the last, I don't know, could be 5-6 years. Yeah, it is a big problem. It is a big problem. I was in an estate there the other day, and a known drug dealer was surrounded by young little boys who thought he was the bee's knees. You know what the bee's knees is? Thought he was brilliant. Thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. And they're following him around. But they don't know they're being groomed. They think this fella is great. It's happening a lot. Okay? And it's just something parents need to keep an eye on. And kids as well. Find out who your children are hanging around with. Make sure you know who they're hanging around with. Make sure you know what kind of people they are to try and stop this. Like if you see our kids coming in and they've a couple of €20 notes on them, you don't know where they got them from, or the new runners or the new watch. Where'd you get that from? Questions need to be asked. But it is a big thing. There is legislation there. We're trying to educate people in relation to grooming, especially kids. We're talking to kids from 7 up in relation to what to look out for and what to avoid. And it's an education thing. It's talking about it, like days like this. Talking about it, you're able to go off now and talk to other people and say, well, listen, or I'm at the scene something, or something was said that I'm at the scene something that I think your young fella might be going down the wrong road or whatever. I need to talk.
Thank you so much, Eric. So last two questions. What are the realities of gang life versus the perception? So what are the realities?
Well, the perception is everything's great. You'll have loads of lovely clothes. You'll have loads of young ones hanging out with you. If you're a fella, and vice versa if you're a girl. Loads of nice cars, nice house, nice holidays. But the reality is it ends a few ways. It ends up you're being locked up. It ends up you being shot dead or cut up with a Rambo blade, whatever they use. You end up people knocking at your ma's house looking for you because you owe money. You'll end up in prison. Or you'll end up doing away with yourself. You know what doing away with yourself is? You'll end up killing yourself because you can't take the pressure. So one looks glamorous, and it probably is glamorous for a short amount of time. Okay, as we said earlier on, you never see an old drug dealer. Okay? Or it's the other way. It's been looking over your back. Not only thinking about yourself, thinking about when these fools are going to come up and knock at your ma's house, or your uncle's house, or your auntie's house, looking for you, for this drug money that you owe. So it can be a lot of pressure on a young person's mind, or even an adult's mind. So the thing is, don't go there in the first place. It's a mugs game. Go ahead.
And then the last, some more questions are coming in. So sorry, what is the difference between possession and intent to supply?
Possession is Section 3, the Misuse of Drugs Act, which is just having it in your possession. Which is having drugs on you, okay, that are a bit more than personal supply. And the guards have a suspicion that it's not for your personal supply, then it turns into possession for sale or supply. But then you have an avid caveat on that, which we said earlier on. Section 15A. Section 15A is sale and supply with a value of drugs over 13,000. So if you have 13,000 euro worth of cocaine, it's probably a little ball about that size. So it's not much. But you can face 10 years in prison. But when people are before the courts on drugs charges, they're always charged Section 3, possession, and Section 15, sale and supply. If it then goes over the value of 13,000 euro, it's Section 3, possession, and Section 15A, sale and supply with a value over 13,000. So that's the difference. Possession is...
Thanks very much, Eric. I know, like, growing up, most of us, we all wanted to become something, and that changes over time. Yeah. So it's just a question for all of you. Is being a police something you always wanted to do, or what were you doing kind of before that stage, and how did the transition happen?
I never wanted to be a guard. No, honestly, I'll tell you real quick. So I was doing security work, delivering different security work, door work, being bouncer on the club and all that kind of stuff. And then I got into delivering cash. Now the cash vans, the armoured vans, we used to get Garda escorts. So I got to know the guards over the years. One of the guards said to me one day, "Have you got the leaving cert?" Now, I don't know if he was saying it to me or saying it to me because it was from Ballymun. Slagging me saying, "You haven't got the leaving cert." So he said, "Yeah, I have the leaving cert." And he said, "The guards are coming up, you should apply." So I did. Garda college with 3 kids. Okay. At the age of 20. Down at 20. So you can have a bit of life experience. That's where I was. But I love being a guard now. I love doing this stuff. Like, who gets the opportunity to talk amongst parishioners like yourselves? It's fantastic. And especially yous. When do you ever get to hear a fella from Ballymun with a big thick Dublin accent wearing a Garda uniform? Now, how we got there.
Back of my head to do. I only left school in 2021, so from there I probably don't have as much life experience as Gary here, but I actually done a diversity internship within the Guards, so it showed me a lot of what the Guards do, and then going on from that, it kind of solidified that it was what I wanted to do.
So I finished school. I went to college in Dublin. I started doing one course. I didn't like it. I told my parents I wanted to drop out. I came home. I worked. I went back to college. I didn't like it again. I came home. I worked. I just worked in a shop in a petrol station. And I worked there for a few years. And then when I was 24, I had a little boy. And when he was 1, I decided, I seen an advertisement for on Garda Síochána, and I said, you know what, it's time now for a change. I want to do something different. So I applied. I waited 3 years for the chance to go to Templemore. There was a bit of a delay with COVID and everything. It put a big delay on my application. So I applied in 2017. I didn't go to Templemore until... That's Tempemore's Garda College in Tipperary. I went there in, I think it was 2021 or that. So yeah, and now I'm 3 years in the job now in Drogheda, so I'm enjoying it so far.
Thank you so much. I think we're going to round up here. We really appreciate your time. Last question is, what can we do more as a diverse community in Ireland? Because obviously, like you said, it's not all the time that we get a chance to speak with yourselves. And I know there is a bit of perception in the community that, the Garda is out to get us type of mentality, which I know is not true. But how can we facilitate more, in the community, like more open discussions and things like this?
It's simple. Just say hello. You get the young lads, I'm not pointing at the lads, right? Get the young black lads, okay, down in West Street, 7 or 8 of them, and they're like, when they see the guards, and not only that, I know 1 or 2 of them, the likes of Officer Debo and J.O. and all them boys, that they'll say hello to me. But try it out, like it took us, during the height of the feud, it took us a long, long time for people to say hello. Due to fear. The guards don't like us, whatever. Or the guard, we don't fit in, or blah, 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 blah. That's fear, okay? So it took people at certain parts of Drogheda years to even say hello to us. Now, if you say hello to guards, once or twice you might get a knock. Try. It works both ways. I try and say hello to everybody, and sometimes I'll get a group of 6 or 7 lads. Saying hello to him because I look like a fool in front of the boys. You know what I mean? I'm not saying hello to him or the girls saying. I'm not saying hello to them. The girls will be slagging me all day.
Thank you, Eric. One more question.
That's a very good point, and I do appreciate that. I know we've been saying last question, but this will be the last one.
Yeah, get it off the chest.
So once you have a conviction on your record, how long does it typically last?
Lasts forever. Lasts forever. So we have a thing called a JLO system. Okay? Get in trouble when you're a kid up to the age of 18. You can get so many of them, and when you turn 18, it's not wiped clean. but you can start again. If you're 18, on the other hand, and you get a conviction, your first time, like if you're down to town and you've not been in trouble before and you get in public order incident or whatever, adult caution is similar to a JLO, but you'll only get one of them once. And after that, it's convictions. They can't be wiped. They can't say, oh, well, listen, this young was 18, or this young lady was 18. She was caught with a 50 bag of weed or 50 bag of cannabis here. Give them a chance. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. It should, but it doesn't. That conviction is there forever. Go ahead, Pastor.
Follow UK. UK, it's 7 years. If any conviction after 7 years, it is wiped off.
Yeah.
Why has that not been adopted in Ireland, that it is just forever?
Because we're slow. we copy the UK, but we're slower than the UK. So maybe it's going to be another 10 years. It should be. A young person caught with drugs at the age of 18, 19, because they wanted to be cool or because they wanted to be part of a group or whatever, and it's on their record then for the rest of their lives. It shouldn't be. That's what I believe. You know, now, if they've 20 of them, well, that's their problem. But if it's one or even maybe two, they should, if they've turned a new leaf, they should be given a new chance. Well, that's just the way it is at the minute.
Thank you very much, Eric. And that will conclude today's seminar. We thank you again for your time. Anyone who would like to take pictures with the Garda, you are more than welcome. Don't be shy and say hello like Eric said. So thank you all for your time this morning.
Yeah, that's a big thing, boys and girls. Try it out. You might get knocked back once or twice. The guards are saying, what are they saying hello for? But do it. Try it. How are you? How are you, guard? And they'll say, all right.
Yeah, actually, we have something a little for you guys, my assistants. Something little for your office, tea, coffee. We just want to thank you so much.